Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Ajibola, what are we discussing today?
Okay, today we are taking a look at the reviewed 2027 general elections timetable as released by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Of course, the electoral body had to adjust the timetable to suit the amended Electoral Act of 2026, which was signed into law by Mr. President. And as it is, we're going to have the presidential election as well as that of the National Assembly on January 16, 2027, while that of governorship and the State House of Assembly election will come up on the 6th of February 2026. The review equally affected the governorship election of Osun and Ekiti states. And, we have seen different kind of reactions coming from major players in the polity, complaining that the timetable was structured in a way to suit the ruling party, which is the APC. Some are condemning the timetable that they have not been able to put their house in order, they have not been able to register their members, and yet INEC is giving them deadline as to when they should conduct their primaries. So these are some of the issues the review timetable of the 2027 general election is generating. We have with us here in the studio Dr. Ayodeji AbdulRauf is a CEO, Think Startup Beyond Borders Incorporated, is also a political affairs analyst. Together, we'll be looking at the timetable for the 2027 general elections. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good morning.
All right, taking a critical look at this timetable. Initially, when the other one was released, people complained that's okay, it's going to clash with Ramadan, and the opposition as well complained about certain things. But now the Amendment Act has been signed into law by Mr. President, and INEC had no choice but to review this timetable. So, having taken a critical look at the timetable for this election, the one for presidential slated for January 16, governorship, and then State House of Assembly election for February 6. What do you make of the timetable and the complaint from the opposition party? Is it germane? Is it relevant at all?
Thank you so much. Yeah, good morning again. I want to put it straight. There is no timetable that will be okay for any politicians. They are all players in the field, and everybody will be looking at what is good for him and what is not good for him. When the first timetable came out, the oppositions were the one that make the hula value, and they have the right to make that complaint, and everybody listened to them. And we know that the date is also important because of Ramadan, and it becomes a religious sentiment affairs. People then, I think, nobody knows the act to be quickly passed, then the president will sign. Then that one also come. Now INEC has two dilemma. People are already making noises about changing the date. Now the act has come, putting INEC in a fixed corner that you have to do the election
within a certain period.
So, and the act supersede any other thing. So whatever might have been the argument earlier, which is religion sentiment, political opposition sentiment, but the act has come. Right. I think the opposition, so whoever is making complaints about this electoral act, should get hold of their legislators or whoever is representing them at the National Assembly, either at the lower hand, on the upper, the Senate, and talk to them. Why do you quickly rush to do the electoral act when we know we're already battling? So I don't know. And Nigerians have been yearning for electoral act for quite a long time. Right. Now let's have the change and get it better. Whatever it is, electoral act is not perfect. This current one is not perfect, but it's continuing to change. And I think we're starting somewhere, and Nigerians should just be grateful for this current government, for especially the National Assembly, for getting it through.
But then, especially for those who are saying that INEC is, stampeding them to do various things one way or the other, is 1 year not enough to actually be ready? Because we all knew that there would be elections in 2027. Yeah. And so it behoves on the political parties to have also started and then put their own house in order. So now that all INEC has done is probably just a shift just by about less than 60 days to bring the elections forward. Does this put the parties in a good light themselves? Does it look like they're also ready for nation building? on their own part rather than wanting to put the blame on INEC?
I think one thing is that we've not really, we are all hoping that things will get better in our political alignment and political formation, party formations. If you look at our First Republic, we have a very good party formation. We understand the ideology. We know where everybody is coming from, what everybody wants to offer the public.
Right.
But over time, these things have been diminishing. Until recent time, maybe this electoral will get things solved together, where people of like mind are the one that you see in the party. But in this current situation, look at since 1999, the PDP has been ruling Nigeria for over 16 years plus on thereabout. Now this one also comes, and you continue to see the same people. Faces just shifting bases. So
right.
there are bound to be this kind of thing. INEC must remain an empire in the party formations, in the party controls, in the election arrangement and all sorts. And they are trying to do their, but it's tough. We understand that it's tough. But with this electoral act, what people are asking for is that the chairmans of INEC should be an empire that will be determined by the citizen of Nigeria.
And not by the president.
The government. So that it could be independent and knows that it's holding the trust of the people to protect us in the coming election. So to me, the hula baloo will continue because we don't have real principled baseline formations of political parties.
Right.
The other guy that was in the PDP last 2 years was now in APC, and they're all changing. So there's no, who are the progressive? In the APC, we say we are the progressive. We're the progressive when we're in power. And immediately we get to power, before we get to power, we're the progressive. Immediately we get to power, the progressive elements disappeared.
Right.
And we turn to the center. And this has been what has been happening in the past years of our political and electoral process.
Right.
Okay. Let's look further into this review timetable. According to the timetable, political parties are also expected to conduct their primaries between April 23 and 30th of May, including the resolution of disputes. Campaign for presidential and National Assembly election is expected to commence on the 19th of August, while those for governorship and state houses of assembly will start on the 9th of September. I read a particular piece wherein the African Democratic Congress is complaining that the timetable was structured in a way to favor the ruling party, and then they are calling on members of the National Assembly to have a rethink, and of course look further into the Amendment Act of 2026, which unfortunately for them had already been signed into law by Mr. President. So do you think at the end of the day, when elections are conducted, they are going to question the credibility of those elections and the transparency of INEC?
To me, the credibility of any elections in this country, the transparencies of INEC are determined by so many factors. But first, the formations of party in this country sometimes is questionable. When some people have lost elections and they have lost power, they start galvanizing themselves to form another parallel party. Is that what we need? If we have 10 political parties earlier before this election, and then subsequent election we should be reducing and realigning for people of the same ideologies and principles to be forming a single party, so that we can even have an ideal two-party. And everybody will know that when you have been in power for 4 years and 8 years, you just have to start planning and strategize, like they have in developed world. If you go to the United Kingdom, you know, we know, there are other sub-political parties, but they are based on regional and constituency area, which is allowed. If any political party, all of them must not be focusing on becoming the president of Nigeria. Target your own local area. If it's the chairmanship elections you want your political party to focus on and be winning field, then that you can be showing Nigerians the real good governance. Let's go in that line. But this crisis of every Nigerian wants to go to the center and become the president, and that's what is disrupting the political system. Yes, we have so many of them now, but the impact that we see on the long run by the time we finish election, they will all be giving money, our resources. All political parties will be giving our resources by INEC to do certain thing on the order. How many are they? So some people are just sitting down somewhere sharing Nigerian resources. I think the formations of political parties from the basis we have to redefine it.
Okay.
There must be principle. It must be principle based.
Okay.
What do we want in Nigeria? What are the things that we really want to drive from government? What do you want to do? What is your antecedent? Then we know which political party we should align, and then people will determine what political party to vote to, and for what for, so that you can account when you get to government. The way we are doing it now, none of the party, to me, really hold on to what they promised Nigeria.
Right. So party ideology.
There's no real. It's just that sometimes individuals are the one that determines a lot of things. Look at the current government, because of the individualisms of the person that is ruling Nigeria now. He has done it in Lagos State before. He moved into federal. He has that dream. And that's why people will continue to complain about the kind of teams he forms to use. People that he trusted, that have been working with him for long. And he knows them for quite a while. You groom them to a particular point. So you want me to go and trust somebody outside that's not being my sister running? And these are some of them. But in the real political formation, this will not happen. Right. Because every unit of the country, in terms of the ministry, will have, the political party will have developed people. In the times of late Obafemi Awolowo, he has caliber of people in each of the unit for education. He knows who to call for education. He knows who to call for agriculture. So the boy has tried in his own little way to put something of that in nature so that he can follow it. And that's why people will continue. But the only thing is not diverse. And I think over time we start diverting it, because there are so many people in every area, in every part of this country, that are waiting for government to come and tap from the kind of value they can have to this country.
Let's look at INEC itself as the umpire, of course, that will be conducting the 2027 elections. They have released a timetable that will be a guide. And Ajibola just asked the question as to, of course, when campaigns should start, when the political parties should run their candidates, when they should run their primaries, and when disputes should have been resolved. So we know that everybody that is, has something to do with the election, you have your job and your responsibilities already cut out for you. So for the political parties which you have addressed now, for INEC, there is a reason why the law has said you must give the announcements ahead of time, which they have done in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It doesn't end there. Looking at the lapses of the last election and where INEC is at the moment, what are some of the things that you would expect that INEC will start consolidating on now that there is almost close to 9 months before the election?
I think the critical thing that the INEC should focus on is voters' education. Okay. Because what we are lacking in Nigeria today, every voters, even the so-called educated voters, don't even know the meaning of the voter's card is holding in his hand. Because if every voter understands the value of the voter's card in his hand, which INEC is supposed to be doing, because the political party will never do. They want to cajole you, they want to tell you this is what to do, and this is what they want to give you, and on the long run you wait for another 4 years before you get anything. Or even the civil societies, if they can work with the INEC in the next 9 months and do massive voters education and awareness, and let people understand that this vote you are going to put in the box for any political party is your life. It depends on even determine the generations coming after you. I think if people start getting aware of why my voter's card is in critical, not that somebody will bring 5,000 or bring whatever they are distributing, and then you think you can just go and give it to him for 4 years. I think that's the first level that the INEC needs to. Okay. Then the second level, INEC must also do their due diligence in the selections, in the primaries of most of these political parties. Okay. Because we know what happened. It's an oversight function. Yeah, oversight function. Okay. Because we know what happened. You saw the real thing. A primary was conducted in a particular location, and you see the real person that really emerged. But eventually, when political party is submitting names, they submit differently. And you, at the empire, you watch this thing. You could not say anything, just because probably something has changed hand. Because they need to do an oversight in terms of primary when they are selecting, what are your criteria. And again, our security agencies, the ICPC, the Nigerian police and all sorts, every candidate integrity need to be put to question. You can't just say because you have become candidates of a particular political party and that political party is in the power and they are covering that particular candidate, and then we hear a lot of stories about those in the National Assembly that are not supposed to be there. So that's the work of the INEC and the security agencies to ensure they check the backgrounds of who become what and how do you get there. It's not that when people are contesting or campaign has started, you start hearing Nigerians or opposition start saying, he didn't go to school, he didn't go, what kind of, no, at that spot? Who will believe you? Go to court, go to anywhere, we've done, there's a process. We've gone to a level where things should go the way it has to go. Then, why I emphasize on voters' education, who will be candidate? What has he done before? What has she done before?
Okay, antecedents of these people.
Where are you coming from? Who are you? I don't know. This is the only country you just suddenly hears the names and somebody becomes somebody just because he knows somebody. And in the process, we are all going to pay for it. So I think it's high time we get there. And then the basic thing is that every family in Nigeria must start becoming political conscious because people abandon it. You see, you saw what happened in the last election in 2023. 2023. You saw what happened even in the family, the youth, the Gen Z will tell the parents, we are voting for this candidate because of certain value systems. So the value systems of family must get back. What we grow up with is that you can't vote for thief. You can't vote for rogue. You can't vote for just anybody. Then why do you suddenly change? Because the thief on the road can give me anything that I want in my life because I've already been pulverized. And that is a challenge I think we have in terms of that election and the INEC, that INEC need to face.
Okay, let me take Abimbola's question further. You mentioned voter education, and if we are going to sensitize the people on the need for them to value their vote or their PVC, aside from INEC doing that, what should political parties be doing? That's on one side. And then this orientation of this idea of, oh, I'm entitled to collect something from you because it is election time, is not adding any value to our democracy. So how do we begin to reorientate our people in such a way that they will have some kind of serious engagement with politicians when they come? Not that they will just come and dangle rice or some carrot before them and they fall for it.
In the first instance, how did Nigeria get to this mess? It's because along the line, some people that are meant to be real political activists left the scene. You know, there was this time we have Sindon de Luke when Babangida was forming different 5 leprosy parties and all sorts. People that are real politicians couldn't, and they organized some of their own tools within. I think the political systems of Nigerians have been destroyed over time, over the years. So, and that affected a lot of values that we're supposed to carry it all along. Because when people are poor, when people are looking for what to eat, when somebody comes in and said, offer them what to eat, they're going to take it. And the politicians have so perfected the systems, Nigerian system now, that they know the time to come and give you what you need. And they know the time to withdraw from you. People is representing a particular constituency and he never show face for 3 years. The last 1 year, he start coming to your constituencies. What interpretation will you give that as a member of that constituency? The constituency too needs to be questioned, but because the constituents have been deprived, they don't even have information. They are not really developed. But over time, what the care that the political class should be wary in Nigeria now is that the social media is going to create a lot of crisis for a lot of people. Because see what is happening to some of the candidates that are coming out. If you go on social media and you see, but my fear is that those young generations and social media, do they know the value of that card? Somebody's going to come and give them $500,000 or $1 million alert and say, ask you to go and tell your colleagues to vote this direction. It's because INEC, everything boils down on INEC. If INEC do the election properly, if INEC is so accountable and they are very transparent without much influence, because let me just talk about one thing, because one has seen it before. Election in Nigeria is a capital venture. For even the politician, because the politician has to pay
for nomination forms.
Nomination form, he has to pay even securities. Every security that come on the election, you could imagine ballot boxes. See what happened in Abuja the last election that was held in the area council. Yeah. Some political party, they have candidate, but they don't have agent. They don't have agent. So how do you win election when there's nobody to represent your party? Represent your party. Right. So it's a very capital intensive venture. So except Nigerians start seeing the value rather than the money, and that this is our right, it's not just money, then we can't get to where we're going.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned funding, because INEC itself also needs funding. And of course, we know that there's usually a budget for INEC. So how important will it be for the early release of that budget, even to INEC? Because if we are looking at conducting election by January next year, the materials must be ready at some particular point in time. Ballot boxes that you've talked about must be ready. Training for ad hoc staff must go on. So, I mean, funding is also very important in a positive way for INEC here now. So, how important is it for INEC to also have early access to funding?
That one is as soon as possible. And I believe Mr. President, as soon as he signed the Electoral Act and it becomes law, there must be, there's an emergency fund that they can use for such, no matter the situation. So INEC should have a standby fund to fund whatever be their process, so that they won't have any cause to say, this is what is causing delay, this is this, that. And mind you, the budget of the INEC also go to some of the political parties.
Right.
So they too will not go to action. But the funny thing is that some political party will just collect money and there's no action. You know, you don't even have them in any of the states. Who is questioning that? Because now INEC must not just collect money. At the end of every election, I think it's high time we start auditing INEC. So that we can understand
where they are coming from.
Yes. Okay. Are we really justifying the value for the money of the people?
Okay.
Yeah, we have done the election. So that sometimes we'll be able to see some loopholes, see some where we can even patch up and not allocating resources to in the next election. Because there's so much mismatch in terms of funding and what I would call misappropriation or misapplications of funds.
Of funds, okay. Right.
Okay, so what were the major flaws of 2023 elections on the part of INEC and political parties that you have observed that you think INEC should work on for us to have a better election in 2027?
Is this our machine?
Beavers.
The Beavers machine. You know, there are some places that they have to go manual.
Use the voter register.
Right. So I will really do it, but even the electorals allow them to match because of the internet and all sorts. So to me, they should just try and improve on that beaver so that a lot of people can have access, because that one will not waste times in the polling booth. The other manual one sometimes wastes times in the polling booth. And again, the political party can find their way through that manual.
To manipulate it.
Yes. The manual is easy. If I bring 10, 20 people in the polling booth and I look at the agent or whoever is the INEC official and we settle them, they will allow just people to, maybe you want to count and you see people will vote. But if the electronic one has been so perfect, that will not happen. That will reduce. So they should try and give us, at least if they can't give us 100%, give Nigeria about 50-60% efficiency in that beaver.
Okay.
I think we'll be able to get close to it.
So, I mean, so now that you've also mentioned that, if we also go by what the National Assembly said during, you know, the issues that came up before that act was actually passed, they also said we might not be able to upload election results real time, but then we can also allow INEC to use both the IREV and of course the manual voter register. Going by what Professor Josh Amokweton also said days ago, assuring Nigerians that the election will be free, fair, but not 100%. So when we marry all of these things together, are we promising Nigerians that the 2027 elections will be what Nigerians are actually yearning for?
To me, every election, if you check Nigerian elections since 1999, some people are saying the 2023 look worst, but to me it wasn't worst, because the level of usage of BIFA in the other elections are not much. It's just manual. Most of the manual elections is fraudulent, no matter what. It's just like when you are favored in your own constituency, you feel good. When the opposition has won in some constituency, they feel good. So over time, Nigerian elections is changing. Look at this kind of sensitization we have in 2023. For us to, for the progressive, even for the ruling government to lose Lagos State, you know, in the general election of Mr. President.
Right.
Everybody got days. How did it happen? You know, so that's to show you there's elements of some trust in what eventually happen. Although eventually they start realizing what those others do. So whoever is smart in election sometime win election. You know, but to me, based on the assessment, prior, not in First Republic, where people are honest and vote rightly, you know, days of UPN and MPN, you know, is what the people vote that they can't, is far, far better than what we're having today, even with electronic, because the kind of citizens we have are civilized, they know the value of their vote, and they know why they are voting, because the political party must show them what do you want us to vote for. People know what they vote for in the Southwest, as far back as 1979, that they are voting for free education. They want their children to go to schools, and then we see what the government of that time also did in terms of infrastructure development. Cocoa House that we have, we know it's over since 1960 something that the government, Western regions has built it. That means they are delivering the dividend of a democracy to the people. But over time now, as the election is changing, the dividend of democracy to Nigerians is getting deteriorated. Nigerians is not really deriving, why our political class are getting fatter. In those days, people that have even served, they know they are servant leader, people. And they must account for what they have, you know, and they have the little they have. But over time now, we have turned most political class, people that come from nowhere to become somebody, and they're now controlling the whole resources of the country. So on that level, we're not really developed. But in terms of voting pattern, the system that we're implementing, I think over time we'll get to where we're going. And like I gave the example of the Lagos State, when the president lost Lagos, it was a shock to a lot of us. What gave room to that is beavers. Nothing. It's what it cut off some people. What would have been done in the elections in every polling agent was we were not able to do it as usual. You know? But we saw that certain things also inflated because the electoral tool has its own impact. When people hack it, they can put garbage in and then you get garbage results.
Okay, every election period will come with its own kind of challenges. You cited the example of the area council election that took place in the FCT recently. And immediately after that election, the INEC chairman did say that he was going to query some members of his staff who got to the polling units late with their materials. And there are some difficult terrain in this country. There are some difficult topography in this country.
Riverine area.
Riverine area. So what should INEC be doing at this particular point in time to ensure that electoral materials get to these locations on time?
You know, I think they should just work earlier than expected. You know, if you want to do election on Saturday, it's better for you to be there earlier than expected. You know, and then the use of helicopters and all sorts also is helping now for them to drop so that you don't need to find
non-sensitive materials.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they just have to create efficiency means of getting things done.
For logistics.
On logistics.
Right. Let's. I know I asked you this earlier, but let's quickly also talk about it. We know that the bulk of the people that INEC also use are ad hoc staff. They are not their full staff, and usually they use corps members and you know, teachers, university lecturers. What are some of the things that INEC also needs to step up in their own training? Also security-wise, sometimes they're also very susceptible to attacks. So what are some of the things that you expect INEC to consolidate on as build up to the election, the kind of training that these people should, you know, be exposed to, the kind of awareness they also should, the kind of, you know, what is it called? Their attitude to work and also their service to Nigeria as against them, you know, working for themselves. So what are some of the things that you also expect INEC to put in place for these individuals?
Yeah, I think INEC needs to be consistent. You know, if you go to develop world, people that have been doing elections in every polling booth, we know them. They will be the one that will be there the subsequent elections.
Okay.
But in our own case, that faces disappear.
We change every election.
You can change them in locations, but not changing people that have learned that we have spent money enough to train. And they will continue to think French every day.
But in our case where we use core members, and you know that they have to spend only just 1 year.
That's what I'm saying. We're just looking for a cheap way of doing this election.
Okay.
Election normally is expensive.
Right.
You know, and then it requires volunteering. And in this part of the world, volunteering is not part of our spirit.
Us, yes.
And we know we must pay for it. But those one knows they are protecting the integrity of their country, and they know they are providing generations to come.
Okay.
So I think INEC have to let people realize, even anybody that serve in INEC, anybody that serve in INEC that work for INEC, there should be a way to compensate them separately. If we could devise such things, I think people will work diligently for INEC. Okay. Because human resource is the key things about INEC. Yeah, machine can be there, but if the human resource are gullible and they are vulnerable, so how to make the human resource of INEC non-vulnerable? Right. That should be the target of the INEC. And how can you do that? First, you must be consistent in terms of keeping your personnel. And then when you are training new personnel, they must also be on your roll to use for subsequent elections. Right. And then where you have minuses, you must look for people, not just they said automatically every copper. No, you have to screen them. Right. Because the background of every copper also matters. Sure. Sure. If you are not, do simple tests. There's a way to do simple tests of testing for truthness. You know, you do that test with whoever you want to put, even using the technology. Okay. And then before we accept anybody to work, because it's not, INEC work is the work for the nation. Yeah, you are not fighting war. You are not going to war, but they face a lot of crises during the election. So they are also putting their lives at stake. So I think Nigerians should guide them and let them, we should protect them and let them also have a cause to have something to fall on. Not just finish election, because what they do, when they finish election, they say they pay them 50,000, they pay them 100, and that's the end of it. No, for people that serve a nation. They're just like military men. Yeah, they may not be holding gun, but they are protecting the integrity of our nation, and they should be seen as such.
Okay, so with all that we have laid on the table this morning for INEC to at least perform excellently in 2027, what should be the role of the security agencies? They also matter in this case to protect politicians, INEC officials, ad hoc staff, and those that will be voting as well. Yes. Because we have seen some political parties come to polling units to come and intimidate voters to vote for a particular political party.
I hope they sign the State Police Act, you know, eventually, so that we can have state police.
Won't that make it worse?
It will make it worse. You know, immediately you separate security, because security is tied to government. You know, we're talking about INEC. INEC is still tied to the federal government. Immediately you start separating some agencies, some institutions from independent. We talk about United States of America every time, and everybody talk about is good, is the institution that is good. Unless our institutions are strengthening, if the security forces depend on government to get certain resources, there's no way their loyalty will be to government. Will not be
to the government, right?
But if I realize that these resources that I'm getting is the Commonwealth, I have to protect the Commonwealth and protect the citizen. And I have to be fair with whatever they do. But you know, that's why I mentioned the issue of election being too capital intensive. Because if you want to be voted for, if you want to be elected into, you have to get a lot of money to spend. A lot of them goes to bank and get loans.
And get loans to run
the banks also give them. You see the bank, they also give them because they are sure.
So when you get to power,
that you bring
it will come back. All right, before we allow you go, in your personal opinion, now, what for you is the most, you know, that you see as a threat or your fear for the success of the 2027 election?
2027 election, my fear for this election is the Gen Z. You know, that's my fear.
But they vote on social media.
I want them to, you know, my fear, why I continue to say it's my fear, I've even told some people in government that we met in a couple of functions that that's my fear. You know, they are the one that remain unpredictable. They are the one that even you as parent cannot say me that you trust that guy. You can't tell me that because he knows what he wants to do and he has his colleagues and he has trust in his colleague than you. How do we get them reoriented to understand the political values of voting for candidates? Because see what happened in 2023 is a big surge. Yes, apart from what we have at Lekki, Tugate and all sorts, that's a big surge to tell Nigerians that Our youth, our agencies are powerful. So my own is, how do I get them educated? How do they know the value system that we got in the past? Because the kind of value system we got, they don't have it, and the blame goes to us.
Right.
It goes to the parents. Our parenting styles have changed, so you can't. So how do we put them on the table? What do you want? Because everybody have to listen to them. Any political class that think it can go for this election without listening to the agency is missing it.
You failed, right?
Yeah, you have to live. Although there are different types of them, but the real one that are really classical, that will be impactful in the next election, the politician has to talk to them.
You cannot ignore them.
You can't ignore
You
them.
need the numbers.
You need that numbers.
Okay.
And they are the one that have the voters card. They always tell me they have it now.
They have it now. we just
learned their
hope that they will
But
use
I hope they won't get it
appropriately.
wrong like we have it in 2023.
Okay.
Vote for values.
Vote for values.
Vote for
Okay.
values.
All right, we'll have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Ayodeji AbdulRauf, CEO, Think Startup Beyond Border Incorporated, and also a political affairs analyst. Thank you for being on the program this
You're
morning.
welcome, ma'am.
We appreciate your thoughts.
You're welcome.
Well, of course, we've heard from our guest this morning, and he's, of course, expressed his fears for the Gen Zs. And I agree with him that, of course, they have the numbers, they have the strengths, they have the capacity. And where they sway to, of course, where they sway to will matter during the next election. So every political party must, of course, carry them along if indeed they want to succeed in the 2027 elections. Only time will tell whether or not we will make good use of their number. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, Adebimpe will be here with her Lagos conversation.